Welcome to a new episode of Depreciation Nation, and today we are going to tell a story more than we are going to feature a car or a project or any of the content that we normally feature. But I promise this story will tie directly back into what you normally watch on this channel. And if you haven't already noticed, the title of today's video is A Tale of Two Hyundais. Now, before we get into today's story, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that you don't miss more content like this. Now, if you haven't figured out yet, we happen to like Hyundais on our channel. If you watched An Afternoon with Randy Popst, he mentioned that they just consistently to get better and better and better with each iteration that they bring.
As long as you don't go too old on a Hyundai.
Right.
Because Hyundai is just step by step. They've been like on a ladder, up, getting better and better.
And as a result of that, we find them to be one of the better values for your dollar spent amongst modern cars, whether you're buying them new or used. Granted, before the market went crazy, if you bought a used Hyundai, depreciation had always affected them nicely, but now that the market has gone a little nuts, and due to the chip shortage and a number of other circumstances, used cars are, in some cases, more than new cars. Now, last year, my wife and I bought a brand new Audi, which you will see in a future episode, and we got a great buy on it because it was a leftover 2019. We made the mistake of believing that we could afford to daily drive that car, and as you all are aware, we do live in Atlanta, and we lost a windshield early on, and we lost a couple of tires, and we lost a rim, and just a number of calamitous events happened with that car, and we were paying for all of those repairs out of pocket because, of course, they circumvented any type of warranty coverage that the vehicle may have had. Now, we had several things happen to that car within a 6-week period. And when I say that we drive the channel cars, we actually do drive the channel cars. But that's going to bring me to why this is called The Tale of Two Hyundais. And so, my wife had driven the Audi to work one day, and we had just replaced one of the tires. And it was a Friday morning, and I went out to get coffee, and I had the Saab, and I had the E46, and I had the X3, and I could not get one of those vehicles to start that morning. And so I sent my wife a text message, and I said, I think it's time to bite the bullet and buy another new modern vehicle. And so we had kicked around that day exactly what it was that would work best for us. We wanted something that was inexpensive to run, inexpensive to maintain, and then mostly inexpensive to insure, as automobile insurance in this market is very, very high. So she knew she wanted an SUV, and we had talked about a number of different SUVs, but lastly we decided to settle on a Hyundai Tucson, and this was back in February of this year. So the incentives were very, very strong on the Tucson, and as a result of that, we were able to get a very strong buy through one of the local Hyundai dealerships. And between the incentive on the car, first responder incentives, and a number of other incentives that we qualified for, we ended up getting almost $5,000 off sticker on a brand new car. And we really liked it. And it was all of the things that we wanted to see. It was cheap to run, cheap to own, and cheap to insure. And May 21st of this year, my wife was on her way to run an errand, and we actually got rear-ended by a 26-foot budget truck. Now, we thought that it was just going to be a simple repair. It bashed in the back of the car pretty good. We knew we needed a hatch, we knew we needed a bumper, we knew we needed a bumper support, but when it got to the body shop, we found that it had actually done a lot more damage than that. And as a result of that, the insurance company ultimately chose to total the car. Now, the Tucson is an interesting story because we purchased the Tucson, which in the process of talking to the dealer, later enabled us to film the 2021 Santa Fe, which if you've been following the channel, you have probably seen. And so when I got back from filming the 2021 Santa Fe, my wife said, "What did you think of it?" And I said, honestly, I'm glad that we didn't drive it prior to buying the Tucson, because if we would have done that, we would have bought a Santa Fe and not the Tucson. So fast forward 4 months, the Tucson gets totaled, and immediately we both looked at each other and said, we're gonna buy a Santa Fe. So we tried to find a Santa Fe. Granted, there's a chip shortage. Granted, there are a number of circumstances that are present in May that weren't present in February. And so finding a Tucson that we wanted was somewhat difficult, but ultimately we found one at Shottenkirk Hyundai out of Canton, Georgia. And hands down, that was probably one of the better buying experiences that we have had. And so we bought a 2021 Santa Fe SE base model, which honestly had a tremendous amount of equipment on it for being a base model. And we were very excited. Again, there were incentives. They weren't as big of incentives as what they were on the Tucson, but it still enabled us to net a good portion off the sticker of that car. And so we bought the Santa Fe, and to be quite honest, the Santa Fe was everything that we had hoped that it would be. And it was comfortable and had a tremendous amount of tech on it for what you would anticipate at that price level. And so after 4 months of ownership, I was planning to film a video with that, having lived with the vehicle for 4 months, so I could discuss all of the things that we did and did not like about that particular car. So my wife was on her way home from work Wednesday, and she was driving that Santa Fe, and somebody passed her at a very high rate of speed on her way home, and they clipped the front end of the car coming back over. They had chosen to pass in a no passing zone, and that proceeded to send both she and the car into the woods. And she is pretty banged up, but no serious injuries. The quarter panel on the car took a serious hit, and because the car went into the woods, there is not one panel on the car that does not have some form of damage. And so we are still early in the process, as they just picked up the car, but we do anticipate that they are going to total that car again. And as a result of that, I will not be able to bring that content to you. So we still think that Hyundais are great. We still think that Hyundais are fantastic. We are in two situations where it appears as though the owner of the budget truck did not elect to purchase the insurance on the truck, nor did they have insurance to cover the accident. And then in this particular situation with the Santa Fe, when the driver of the vehicle that struck us, they proceeded to take off at a very high rate of speed, did not stop to make sure that everybody was okay. And at the moment, this is considered a hit and run. And we don't anticipate a just resolution at this time. So remains to see what we're gonna get next. We will be getting something next as soon as we find out what is going to happen with the Santa Fe. But we just wanted to share that with you because I've got a hydro thread review coming up on Chemical Guys, in which we covered that interior in hydro thread, and now we no longer have the car. So I wanted to explain the fact that we had anticipated filming a video with that particular vehicle, and now we will not be able to do so. So that is where we stand with A Tale of Two Hyundais. We have lost both of our brand new Hyundais at this point. They both took pretty serious hits, and so I am going to endorse the fact that they are relatively safe. Bags did not deploy in either accident, and we are in the process of searching for a vehicle to replace that Santa Fe with in the event that our insurance company does indeed total that car. So if you want to see what we get next, don't forget to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen, and we'll talk to you soon.